Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. There is a clip that has been going viral for a better part of yesterday, at the 12th or rather 13th of June. This is a clip of some altercation that happened in a rally. And I will just look at it in a very, I will give it a holistic approach. When Raila Odinga visited the Ukambani region, that was on Sunday, with Kalonzo Musyoka, they had different rallies in, I think it was Masimba, Yatta, Masi, Athi River, and then they concluded with just a side rallies, roadside rallies around Mavoko. Now in Athi River, there was a drama at the dais. Quite unfortunate. And I've been trying to comb through for better part of the day today, for better part of yesterday, what exactly happened. And what does that portray? Because even Raila Odinga's speech was cut short. So I wanted to find out. Then I realized that there is something that happened before Raila Odinga spoke. Kalonzo Musyoka was the master of ceremony, I think. And so he decided to take the microphone and made a public plea to Waita, who is a former State House Chief of Staff, to step down for Wavinya for Machakos gubernatorial race. So Waita is the party leader of Chama cha Uzalendo. Then Wavinya is the Wiper's candidate for governor in Machakos. Now this is what Kalonzo said.
Alafu ndugu Waita, huyu mama amesumbuka sana kuibiwa kura. Ukitaka heshima yako utamwondokea. Asanteni sana. Thank you. Sasa tumkaribishe ndugu Raila Amolo Wavinya. Thank you.
And I just wanted to interrogate this request this way. Wavinya has been vying for that seat from 2013, with all due respect. And I think the first one, she lost to Mutua. And again in 2017, she lost to Mutua. But I think Kalonzo Musyoka, while making a plea, was making that she was being rigged out. Of course, she's been trying to challenge the wins in the courts. But in this government, the new government that was formed after 2017, Wavinya was absorbed in the national government. I think she was working as a CAS in the Ministry of Transport under Kamau, under Macharia. And she's, by the way, she's a widow. She lost her husband. Now, on the other side is a political greenhorn who was working in Safaricom, Nzioka Waita. Then after Safaricom, he got some opportunity and he got absorbed in government, then went to work in State House. So from State House, he's now going to seek re-election in Machakos. So at the end of the day, there can only be one candidate, and Azimio la Umoja had made it very clear that they had to do some bit of internal zoning so that candidates do not face off. Now, I want us to look at this video here.
Tuko tayari kucheza na ile timu ile ya Tanga, sio? Mimi nacheza namba 9. Sio, nacheza namba 9. Hello? Lero, lero, lero.
if you look at that clip, of course, I know people paid attention to the way the security men went and formed a ring around Raila Odinga. But something was worrying me, and I will ask, where was Kalonzo Musyoka? Because Raila was ringed. Was Kalonzo seated? Because I even realized that Charity Ngilu was frightened, was scared, and then decided to get in Raila Odinga's ring. So he was around Raila Odinga, where she was around. She just came to take cover around Raila Odinga's security. Does it mean that there were some security lapses there? This is a very worrying trend, because sometime, I think 2 months ago, there was another stage altercation in Kilifi. I think it was Kilifi or Kwale, if I'm not wrong. And Ali Hassan Joho was there, and that was an Azimio la Umoja rally. I don't want to say they're related, but I think let's also try to see what happened in Kilifi.
Tupa.
And yesterday was Machakos. They are not related, but I was just sharing those clips so that we have an idea of what exactly is happening, what exactly happened. So one thing that I say is this should be a very worrying trend. This should be very worrying to Azimio la Umoja. They need to get this right. One is because, especially in Ukambani, what was happening is the internal party zoning, where a candidate feels that is going to be disadvantaged in favor of a Waita candidate. The problem is not only in Machakos. There is another problem in Kitui, where Charity Ngilu is vying with NAK, and I think David Musila has Jubilee, but Musila and Charity Ngilu seems to be working together, so they're going to produce one candidate. Then Wiper Party is going to produce either Malombe or Kema Kalonzo, because Kema Kalonzo is challenging nomination of Malombe in IBC tribunal. So the same thing that is happening there was internal wrangles, and the same wrangles might also be witnessed somewhere in Kitui. So there is something that needs to get right. One, Azimio must appreciate that the leadership and the political leadership of Azimio la Umoja are senior and mature people. So politicians that have low level of political tolerance, I want to suggest, one, they should not be allowed in the main dais. That is a place where Raila Odinga is, Kalonzo Musyoka there, Kivutha Kibwana, I want to guess, was there, and Charity Ngilu. And by the way, we happen to realize that what happened is there was an altercation between the security details of Wavinya and Athi and those of Waita. Walikuwa wanavutana, and it means there was a bit of that altercation between the two leaders. And at some point, I think Waita was attempting to attack Wavinya and Athi, but of course, it had to be covered by the camera. So that exactly is something that do not sell well for the brand Azimio la Umoja. The small people, the young politicians, I watched, I think I covered Azimio la Umoja Jacaranda rally. That is the last I once covered. And I realized apart from the main dais, kuna hiyo dais, apart from the main, there is the other tent, hiyo ndogo ndogo. Imebeba the MCAs, MPs and that. I think if there are two factions, then mwingine akae huku, mwingine akae huku. That is it. But what do you think is happening? What is your interpretation of these incidences of violence at the main dais where Azimio la Umoja are conducting rallies? What are the interpretations? I want us to look at it in the context of Ukambani. Kindly subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so that when we publish these videos, you'll be notified. I want to mention this. Is there a possibility that high-table boardroom negotiations to solve the internal political rivalry within Azimio has collapsed, and especially in Ukambani. And what do you think might have been bringing that? Because after that incident on Sunday, there was a night meeting of Kalonzo Musyoka, Wavinya Ndeti, Waita, and I think Raila Odinga and some leaders of Azimio to try to find a truce between to negotiate a deal between Wavinya Ndeti and Waita so that one person can step down. There's a photo that emerged. I think this one here. This is a letter that emerged that Waita had accepted to step down for Wavinya Ndeti, but 2 hours later, the same Waita came back to the media and said that he's moving all the way to the ballot, and in fact, he called Kalonzo Musyoka some names. And what happened to Azimio la Umoja Council members? Because I think some of these negotiations in terms of how they can manage the internal rivalry, maybe it should be taken to that organ, and if it fails, then the three principles are going to solve it. Because this is not what is really happening. Is there a possibility that high table negotiations collapse? And this would also indicate a possibility that Kalonzo Musyoka is losing the grip of Ukambani. And I listened to Nzioka Waita making an allegation that I don't think is going to work on their favor. He was saying that Kalonzo Musyoka is not a voter in Ukambani, in Machakos. He's not a resident of Machakos. And so he should not dictate what happens in Machakos. But I think that is a little bit being selfish, because if Nzioka Waita is making such statements, it will mean that they want to maybe divide Ukambani in terms of counties, that Machakos, we're going to vote for this, Makueni, you're going to vote for that, and Kitui, you're going to vote for that. That will not propagate, or that will not propel the unity call of Azimio la Umoja. And I think Raila Odinga's presidential team and the strategists, now that Makau Mutua is from that area, they should find a way they broke a truce between these leaders. Because I remember Waita was saying that Kalonzo Musyoka is from Tharaka-Nithi because Kalonzo once made a joke that he's also a Kikuyu. So that is also something. And what has to happen brings me to I want to tie it with my other third point. President Uhuru Kenyatta must reign on Nzioka Waita. What is happening is, I think Nzioka Waita, having worked at State House, controller of State House staff, I think he feels like he has all the audacity and the acumen to bulldoze himself in elective politics. He simply doesn't understand how someone, because he was working in State House, he's being asked to step down for Wavinya Ndeti. But politics is about popularity. I think Wavinya Ndeti deserves that ticket. And because Nzioka Waita seems to be defying Kalonzo Musyoka, then his former boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta, must then come in and help. There is nothing, I don't buy his narrative that because he was supporting Raila when Kalonzo was still had not decided. I'm like, when was that? That was standing with Raila for 1 month. Kalonzo and Wavinya Ndeti has been with Raila for the last 10 years. So someone should tell Nzioka Waita that I don't think that narrative sells. Lastly, security details of during Azimio la Umoja rallies, I think needs to be beefed up. Not for any other reason, but the women leaders. With Martha Karua being there, I wanted to think of a situation where such altercation happens in a rally, and Martha Karua is there, and by mistake atahanguke, and someone takes that photo. See how that will be a damage to Azimio la Umoja. God forbid, even Charity Ngilu falls, and you have women leaders there, because Azimio la Umoja has a deputy president, and the women then must have a voice. This sort of violence will make women to shy away from even now going to those rallies. And I think that will not be so great, that will not be so conducive, especially the women leaders, if these issues continue, especially when someone knows that we are going to Machakos or maybe we are going to Kitui and this is going to happen. I think Kalonzo Musyoka, President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga must sit down and solve the question of rivalry within Azimio. And secondly, there is a need for security to be beefed up. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my bold analysis.